Good morning, Tarkov. Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing? This is the Good Morning Tarkov show, my Escape from Tarkov morning show, where I talk about stuff revolving around Tarkov. And usually I have a topic for the beginning of the day, get everyone's brain moving, get everyone awake. And then we do a bit of a chat Q&A afterwards. It goes from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern United States time. And then anytime there's like a patch or something, which might be coming up in the next couple weeks here, I am debating on whether or not to add gameplay to this, but we'll see. I think this may involve some kind of gameplay whenever we do have a patch day. Whenever there is something super important to show you guys in game, I'm thinking we might involve a little bit of gameplay, and that's going to be the topic for today too. We're going to be talking about some gameplay. So if you guys are watching the VOD, because the VOD is going to go live, or if you miss any part of this live stream, it's going to go up on Spotify. So this one is a very vocal one today. Unfortunately, sometimes we do make these pretty visual, which obviously the Spotify isn't going to really take too much part in, but these are going to go up on Spotify, and if you do miss anything, the VOD is going to go up as well, so you can check the description and the top comment of the VOD if you are watching the VOD, and you can keep up with the conversation. I'll have some timestamps in there. Now, it doesn't go up immediately after the live stream is done because it needs to load a little bit, and there needs to be access to be able to download the VOD, and then I need to then put it into an editing software and then put it up on Spotify. So Spotify takes a little bit longer, and timestamps aren't immediate, obviously, so I have to go back through the stream myself. But other than that, today's topic is going to be sounds like a you problem. It's going to be gameplay oriented, and we're going to break that down a little bit and try and help you guys. This is going to be a more... I noticed that I haven't really done this specifically yet, and this is one of the more important things that I wanted to get to with these morning live streams. Excuse me. Was interaction. So I want to be able to figure out some problems that you guys might be having in game, or some issues that might have popped up for you guys in game, and see if there's content that I've already made, or maybe there's some kind of future content that I can make to help you with that. And I'm definitely not alone with that. Pesley does a ton. Pesley does an utter ton of content around like why he does what he does in gameplay and stuff like that. And of course, so does everyone else. So I know Jesse Kazam has been doing a lot of thought process videos recently. And of course, Deadly Soft has a lot of really good gameplay, but those are just a few that I can think of right off the top of my head, and they're really good at breaking. Crash does a lot of good stuff. If you guys have any other ideas of someone that does really well, drop it in chat, and I'll make sure to give them a shout out here. But yeah, those three for sure. Those are who I've been following forever. Other than just watching the live streams. So if you guys aren't watching live streams whenever you can, which you're already here watching one, so I think you're already good there. That's a big plus. That's a big plus to actually see what these guys are doing in raid, what these guys with thousands of hours in game have been doing in raid. And eventually I'll be joining them again. Eventually I'll be doing those live streams with the gameplays, but just not yet. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because I have noticed I'm getting a lot of people that are asking like when am I gonna get back into gameplay? Is this just me now? Am I just doing the news, or sorry, the fornicating news stuff these days? But no, gameplay is going to be coming back. I'm just kind of on a news spurt right now, so we can talk about that more later. But anyway, today's topic, like I said, is going to be sounds like a you problem, and then we'll get into that specifically with maybe some ideas from you guys of what you might be struggling with in game. But before that, oh, there's a voice crack. Okay. But before that, let's say hi to everyone. So good morning, Josh. Morning, Hammer Time. Morning, Raleigh. Morning, Coco. Morning, Saggy. It's 3 p.m., but good morning, Radcat. How you doing? Morning, Alexander. Hope you're doing well. I'm afraid of moving to Tarkov. Good luck helping with that. Yeah, there's some stuff that I can actually help you with that for, or help you with that with. It's still early. How we doing? Buzz? Doing all right? My coffee kind of got fucked up this morning, so I ended up dumping it out. I don't know why, but it just tasted horrible. So this morning's podcast is, or this morning's stream is brought to you by the only caffeine that I had in my refrigerator, Mountain Dew Game Fuel. So it's 9 a.m. and I'm drinking Mountain Dew Game Fuel just so I can wake up. Because I did not have time to make another cup of coffee. So we'll see how this goes. We'll see how this goes. Boop, 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 boop. Morning, Jared. Morning, Kirill. Giggity indeed. Giggity indeed. Morning, gentlemen. Morning, Daniel. My coffee was utterly disgusting too. Yeah, for some reason, it's a weird day. This coffee was not good. I took one sip and then I had to do like a double take. I'm like, is that just because I had some junk in my mouth or something? Like, you know, like when you first wake up in the morning, like if you don't brush your teeth or something, which you do not brush your teeth before you have coffee. That's the worst idea you can possibly have. So I was like, so I took another sip and I'm just like, nope, that's the coffee. Nope, that's the coffee. And I just dumped it out. Jesse Kazan mentioned you in a video. Jesse's been a bro lately. Jesse has been a really cool guy lately. He has been a very nice guy, actually. We should probably get used to saying stuff like that. I made a video a while back explaining some of my opinions on where the game is going, which was backed up by Nikita with our personal Q&A, with our exclusive Q&A with him last week. The game is going to change significantly, and there are significant changes that are coming to the game that are going to significantly change the game for everyone. So to base Escape from Tarkov, to base the game off of what is going on right now, is not the right thing to do, basically. And because of everything that has not been implemented that will change the game in so many different ways. And Nikita just backed that up, and Jesse was thinking the same thing. So ever since then, we've been on kind of the same wavelength. And there was one where I was in his stream a few days back, and I just was like talking in chat, and he started like asking me questions or something. I forget what the topic was, but that might be the one that he posted. I'll have to see what he posts later today. I don't know if he posted it today or yesterday or whatever you're talking about there, but yeah, he's been cool lately. And he hasn't been the only one. There's been a lot of really cool. There's been a lot of those Twitch cool kids. I refer to them as the Twitch cool kids that have been noticing my content over here on the YouTubes. So someday I'll head over there. Someday I'll head over back onto Twitch if it'll allow me. Drop by, just say good job on your content. Appreciate it, Snacks. Do you have instant coffee? Yeah, I had it's a Keurig thing. I'm gonna switch over to something better here soon because I drank too much of it. I'm just waiting to run out of the Keurigs. I'm just gonna use up all the Keurig things and I'll switch over to something else. Speaking of, if anyone knows any good coffee sponsors, I'd like one for the morning stream. The worst is when the milk is bad. I don't even put milk. I just drink it black. I put a little bit of sugar in there though. I forgot I had a coffee pot in my honestly, brush my teeth before my morning coffee. Dude, why? Your name is Coffee Fresh too. I know, but then sometimes you get the toothpaste in there, man. I mean, okay, so if you rinse your mouth out like really well, I would see it, but I feel like that's a bad decision. Not to mention, like, you'll have the coffee stains on your teeth afterwards. I feel like that's not the right move. Honey in the coffee? Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to. Yeah, especially with how much I'm talking these days. EFT needs an RPG game, role-playing game. I mean, it kind of already is. It's going to be more like that when on release. I'm not a vet. I'm not a military vet, so I don't know what they do with Black Rifle Coffee, but that'd be cool. Don't they only sponsor military vets? Les Bo, this is our morning stream, and since the numbers, we wait for the numbers to get up a little bit, and then we talk about today's topic. My family owns a coffee roasting company. Hit me up. Maybe we can work. Ooh, okay. I brush, drink a whole bottle of cold water, and shower in the coffee time. Yeah, Grouchy. That's way too much effort for me. Before I wake up, make some coffee, and then I come hang out with you guys. That's after the stream. Yeah, I get a lot of good. I would think that Black Rifle Coffee is good, but I think don't they only work with military vets? I don't know. Got alerted to live and got excited. Then sent me to this one 3 days ago. Really? That's weird. It shouldn't be doing that. All right. I'll look more into that later. But we have good numbers right now, so let's get to it. All right. As usual, guys, we have a topic for the day. We have a topic for the day that I kind of discuss. I get everyone's brain moving. Right now, it seems like everyone's brain is moving in the way of coffee, but we're going to move it towards the Tarkov now. So today's topic is sounds like a you problem. So basically, it's things that you might think is a game problem, but it really is something that you need to work with it a little bit, and that might be a lot of things. So in the chat Q&A, this is going to be a good subject for today because I'm literally asking you guys to comment and to talk about what your biggest struggle in Escape from Tarkov is, and then I might be able to break it down. But I can already tell, I can already guess pretty well probably what most of your problems are, and that's what the topic discussion is going to be about today. So most problems, let me turn the music down just a little bit more too. For some reason, this music does get to me whenever I'm talking. I don't know why. Probably because a lot of this is like off the cuff. Like I literally, I have 4 lines of notes here. I have the title, and then I have a couple of dashes about what generally I'm going to talk about, but the rest of this stuff is just right off the top of my head. So I don't know why. Just for some reason, the music isn't that great for the background for me just off the cuff talking. Anyway, so most people's problems are going to be revolving around money and skill. And those can be broken down significantly. So money, if you guys are having trouble with money, skill is directly involved with that because you have to choose what gear you want to bring into that raid. So you might die if you're not good enough with that gear and then lose that money. Same thing goes with skill. Skill has a lot to do with what kind of ammo you are using, what kind of gun you're using, if you have armor to be able to survive a gunfight a little bit longer. And if you don't have the money to back that up, then you're not going to be able to back that skill up. So those are the 2 prime issues with Escape from Tarkov in order to actually progress. So you both need money. So you need money and skill. And if you have a significant problem getting either of those, then you've got a problem in Escape from Tarkov, of course. So first things first with skill, there is a bare minimum requirement of understanding first-person shooter games that comes with Escape from Tarkov because it is one of the most brutal first-person shooter games out there right now. I've made a few videos talking about this, and if you guys haven't checked out my EFT like a pro playlist, you really need to because a lot of that stuff is around helping new players. And if this is new to you guys, because to you I'm just the news guy, I have helped dozens. I honestly lost count because of how Escape from Tarkov ended up working out for me. I was the first person of my friend groups for years. I've been playing Escape from Tarkov for years, and I was the first person in pretty much all of my friend. Actually, I can't say pretty much. I was the first friend in all of my friend groups that played Escape from Tarkov. So whenever, as the years went by, whenever some new person picked up Escape from Tarkov, or whenever some new person heard about Escape from Tarkov, they came to me. And then if they ended up getting it, they came to me to teach them. So over the years, I've taught dozens and dozens of people Escape from Tarkov, and that's why it's helped me, get into this content stuff. So check out that EFT like a pro playlist because that's backed up by those dozens of people that I have actually, brought through the game and gone through those first few hours and taught them and brought them up. And now some of them are better than me. Some of them are significantly better than me, and they play a lot more than me actually now, especially nowadays. But anyway, I digress. Skill and money are the 2 most important things, but there is a bare minimum to the skill thing that needs to be understood. You need to have what's the right word to use here? You need to be at a certain level of comfort with first-person shooters to be able to really do anything with Escape from Tarkov, because it is such a quick time to kill and it's such a ruthless, unforgiving game that I honestly my heart skips a beat every time I hear someone say that this is their first PC game. Yeah, I just built a PC and I really like Escape from Tarkov, so I just picked up Escape from Tarkov. Have you played CS:GO? No. Have you played Arma? No. I don't even know what that is. Have you played Call of Duty? Yeah, on my Xbox. People actually have Escape from Tarkov be their first PC, be their first mouse and keyboard game, and that just baffles me. So there's a lot of, so apparently that's a thing. So what I would say, guys, is that if it just seems like you're in just a hopeless pit of despair when it comes to Escape from Tarkov, and you are just constantly dying, there can be a couple things that feed into this, but constantly dying after you get into a gunfight. So you see that guy, you see that person that ambushes you. You're able to actually, go back and forth with them a little bit. You survive a bit of a first engagement or first contact, that kind of a thing. But then you lose the gunfight. That is the crucial thing there. If you lose a gunfight, that is a skill thing. That is not a game knowledge thing. That's not a money thing. If you actually lose that gunfight, that is a skill thing. Because you're able to shoot back, you know where your target is, you know your weapon system, and you're able to actually engage, and you're actually able to take part in a real gunfight in the game, and you lose it. That is a skill thing. Now obviously that breaks down into a ton of other things, but initially speaking, it could be an aim thing. It could be a ease of use with a mouse and keyboard thing on your end. And for that minimum level of, if you are having issues with that, Escape from Tarkov is not the game to learn that. Because if you think about it, if you're lucky, you get a peer target. And what I mean by peer is that you would play another player, or maybe an advanced AI or something, like one of those scav bosses or something. Someone that actually knows how to intelligently shoot back, and not just a scav with a TOS from 50 meters away that, slows you and it's just tossing some TOS rounds at you. I mean like a legitimate gunfight with a intelligent, whether it be a real person or an AI. That only happens depending on the map. So if you want to go to factory, it happens much quicker. Or if you want to go to labs, it will happen much quicker, and it'll be a much bigger threat of a target. But if you go on shoreline, you go on interchange, stuff like that, it's going to be, if you're lucky, every 5, sometimes even 10 minutes, because you're going to have to do it the matching time. So it'd be more like 10 plus minutes if you're dying a lot. If you're lucky, every 10 minutes you'll get into a gunfight with a peer target. That's not good. That's not good to learn first-person shooter, because for the first, who knows how many deaths that you've had there, what are you going to learn from that? You're just going to know is just like, all right, well, I knew where that guy was, but I didn't know if it was because of my armor. I didn't know if it was because of my placement. I didn't know if it was literally just because of my aim. So what I suggest to everyone is you check out Aim Trainers. Aim Trainers is really cool. I don't have an Aim Trainer sponsor, so you can just Google that out. You can check that out and see where you're at. If you're not at least 50% percentile of first-person shooters, like most aim trainers will give you a percentile that you're in. I would say if you're not at least at like a average, like at a 50% percentile, then unless you're like, you don't really care that you die so much in Escape from Tarkov, unless you're okay with that, then, all power to you. But, I would really suggest that you're at least average, that you're at least 50% percentile when it comes to aim with a mouse and keyboard, if you're going to actually try to progress in Escape from Tarkov, because it is brutal. You get into those fights, and if those players know that you're in a high loot area, if you just killed that scav boss, let's say you got lucky killing a couple scavs, or you got lucky killing a scav boss, those players that are 80 or 90th percentile are going to be coming for you. And they're going to know the game much better than you, and they're going to have that better equipment, and you're just not going to stand a chance. So you need to do yourself a favor and be ready for, and this is my opinion too, so if you don't want to do this, or if it doesn't seem like this will actually work for you, then, all power to you. You guys do what you want. But this is what I usually suggest to people. If you think it's a skill thing, and it's if you get into, remember, the basis of this is that if you get into that gunfight, but you lose that gunfight. So you know where those shots are coming from. You see where these people are ambushing you from. You know the spawns. But you get into that gunfight and you lose it. That's what I'm talking about next year. That's when you start looking at those aim trainers. Or, if you want something a little bit more fun, that's when you start looking at those arcadey shooters. So there's games like Insurgency Sandstorm, Arma. Arma you can play, depending on your playlist though with Arma. You gotta go play like King of the Hill, or you gotta go play something like, you gotta go play something that is a little bit more upfront, like with you get in fights more often, basically, with Arma. CS:GO, really anything that gets you in fights every few seconds instead of every several minutes, if that makes sense, guys. So Escape from Tarkov, very brutal gunfights that can end very quickly, and if you're lucky, you get them every several minutes. So that's a very bad environment for you to learn first-person shooter tactics and first-person shooter skills. that's when you would want to go to something that you will get into that fight. And even though it's not going to be the same movement, it's not going to be the same gun, it's not going to be the same time to kill, but it is going to be the same hand-eye coordination and understanding of mouse and keyboard movement and such. That's when you go to those arcade shooters. That's when you go to those Battlefields, those Call of Duties on PC, not on a controller, on PC with a mouse and keyboard. That's when you go to those Battlefields, those Call of Duties, those CSGOs, those Insurgency Sandstorms, anything that will get you into fights every few seconds as opposed to every several minutes. All right, that's the skill side of things. Money side of things is actually much easier to explain. I've got a ton of videos explaining how to get money. Everybody that has ever made a video on Escape from Tarkov, I'm sure has a video, at least one, on how to make money in Escape from Tarkov, because that's such a big such a big topic. My go-to is How Noobs Become Millionaires, I think is the title, the proper title that I put on that video. It explains a route that I've done and that I've shown a lot of people, and you'll see in the comments yourself, people keep telling me to take that video down because it actually works very well. And as the years have gone on, I think this was made a long time ago. So there's been some changes. There's been some changes to like where, or some additions to some of the loot spawns and stuff like that. But How Noobs Become Millionaires over on my EFT Like a Pro playlist. You scav as much as possible on night interchange, and you know where all the boxes are. You're going to be able to make money. And then once you have that money, or once you have maybe you don't even use that route that I have on interchange. Maybe you don't even listen to anything that I say. Maybe you find something else that you're able to efficiently get a solid chunk of money with. Then next comes actually efficiently using that money, because you need to be realistic with your skill set. So I'm not saying do pistol runs, because pistol runs are to make money. You need to set a price point in mind, and then say, hey, at this amount of money, this is what I'm going to do with it so that I can actually improve my gameplay and actually improve at the game. Usually, that's a few $100,000. Usually, that's a few 100,000 rubles is when people go into that. That's, you can get an okay AK-74 setup. You can get an AK-74U. You can get a PP-19. You can get something like that. You can get some level 3 armor. You don't necessarily need a helmet. If you want to get a helmet, go for it. But usually, some kind of solid primary weapon, level 3 armor, and a couple mags and proper meds, and you're good to go. Go out there, learn the game, do it. And then depending on the map, I would say AK-74 or SKS or what else? Maybe ADAR. Probably not ADAR actually, because you can probably find better ammo. But we're going down a wormhole there on that one. But usually speaking, you can find better like 5.45 or 9mm ammo lying around. So yeah. So I would say with the money thing, you need to be realistic with your expectations of how you're going to be able to use that money efficiently with your skill level. So if you get to level 10, you pistol run, or you do whatever you need to do to get money. You get up to a couple mil, and then you go and you buy that meta HK416. You buy the level 5 or level 6 armor. You buy that slick. Let's say we buy that level 6 slick there. You buy the slick. You buy 3 mags. Let's say you fill it with 995. Either way, you have this amazing kit, but you have absolutely no money, and then you decide to go out and you die immediately, whether it be to someone that's a higher skill level than you, or if it's actually to you get Tarkov, you die to desync, you die to a cheater. Let's say a cheater immediately, you just get schwacked. Maybe your game crashes, you come back dead, you get Tarkoved. It doesn't need to be, this is Escape from Tarkov, it doesn't need to be your fault for you to lose all that hard work and for you to lose all that money. And what are you going to learn from it? Nothing. So you got to think about what your priorities are. If you want to get better at the game, you notice that you die a lot in those situations. You know that you die a lot in gunfights, basically. How are you going to get through that? Well, you need some money so that make sure you have some good gear. Don't waste all the good gear, though. Don't waste all the money on one gear set. Try and break it up into 5. I would say whatever kind of money that you're comfortable with, if you want to move on with gameplay, you should at least have enough. You should at least have enough money for 5 gear sets, and then just roll with it. Make them as close to each other as possible. Try to use the same gun. Try to use the same ammo. Try to use about the same setup, and get used to that platform. Get used to that loadout, because everything changes. Everything changes depending on what your loadout actually is, especially if you do the gun. So if you go from even if you go from a couple different, like a different grip, a different pistol grip, a different foregrip, different handguard, different optics are huge too. Optics on your weapons, suppressed, unsuppressed, muzzle device, stuff like that. It could be the same gun, but it could treat you. It could be acting much differently in game. So there's a lot that goes behind that. So I would say, pick your favorite loadout and stick to it. Pick your favorite cheap loadout, not necessarily cheap, but efficient loadout for the money that you're capable of making, and then go get in some fights. Go get in some situations that you're used to getting into or that you would like to get into. Actually, no, ideal is the right word to use here. Go get in your ideal kind of gunfights, and then break it down from there, and then rerun it all. If you're noticing that you're getting into that gunfight and you're losing that gunfight, maybe you're not efficient enough with the mouse and keyboard, so maybe you don't play Escape from Tarkov for a few days. Maybe you go play something where you get into gunfights, like I said, every few seconds instead of every few minutes. Maybe you do get into that gunfight, but you end up only winning against players that don't have a lot of money, and you can't sustain that money. You can't sustain the kind of money that you're making. So then you need to start worrying about loot, which is a whole nother topic for a whole nother day, but it's something to pay attention to. So make sure that you're able to sustain it. Sustainable gameplay is a whole nother thing. And if you're not able to sustain it, then you're probably spending too much money, or you're probably not playing hard enough. Like, you have to go to those loot areas. You have to get in there quicker, and then push yourself. That would be the last thing. Push yourself. Try to make more money. Try to get more kills, and then see what happens with that, and then rerun it all. That is my sounds like a you problem, basically. There's a lot more that could go into that, but I want to see what you guys say. So usually, what most people's problems come around money, and they come around skill, and they're also not realistic with themselves about like their capabilities in game. So that's what I wanted to go over today. Now I want to see what you guys say about it. Now what I'd like to see what you guys would like to say about it, and then we can talk from there. Again, guys, EFT Like a Pro playlist. I have a ton of tutorials in there that should be able to help most of you guys, if not all of you guys, out. So go check that out. And as usual, with the chat Q&A, guys, use @NiceGuy_Tarkov. I'll put it in chat here a couple times so that it pops up in orange. And it makes it much easier for me to see. Make sure you're using @NiceGuy_Tarkov. If you have a question specifically for me, make sure you're using @NiceGuy_Tarkov. All right. What do you guys think? Does that make sense? Was I making sense? Any questions? Any concerns? What do we got here? I don't like player running in a train. Good ammo. How do you think unique extracts and mechanics will look like? All right, immediately into the future game Tarkov. Anything. It could literally be anything. Outrider. Could literally be anything. I wouldn't be surprised if they do some if they end up doing some kind of like a helicopter extract or something. I'll put it that way. That's not planned. That's not confirmed or anything. That's not even confirmed as planned. That's nothing. I just am saying I wouldn't be surprised if they do end up doing like a helicopter extract or something. They're gonna go nuts. They're gonna do a lot of cool stuff. You think EFT should care about the casuals by meaning that people who have a job? No, Diego, because there's lots of other. And now I'm not saying that I don't care about casuals. I'm here to try to help casuals. Escape from Tarkov in its purest sense, shouldn't care about casuals, because every other freaking arcade shooter, every other shooter in the world does care about casuals. Escape from Tarkov is supposed to be different. Now, it doesn't mean that casuals can't adapt. It doesn't mean that there's not things that people can enjoy that do have a day job. In fact, Diego, I would specifically direct you to my video of "Let Games Be Hard." So I think that's the title that I put on that video there. Let Games Be Hard, and I talked about that specifically in detail, and I think it's exactly the kind of answer that you're looking for there. But generally speaking, Escape from Tarkov is supposed to be different. It doesn't mean that a casual can't play it. It just means that from a design standpoint, they're not necessarily having that be a priority, because it's just different. It's just not that kind of a game. But you can adapt. Casuals can adapt, and casuals can appreciate some things. But they're not going to bend the game to it. They're not going to bend the game to casuals, whatever your definition of casual might be. I have absolutely no issues with making money. My problem is with spotting people. I cannot for the life of me see the other person before he sees me. So then slow your game down just a smidge. And I know this is pretty broad, but slow your game down just a smidge, because you're moving too quickly to be able to see them. Make sure you're, which obviously isn't the only thing, I know, guys, but like, make sure you're checking out spawns too. So the instant that you spawn, you should be able to understand roughly whereabout, generally speaking, where the whereabouts of the people that are around you, like where the other people that spawn near you could be, and then you should be keeping an eye out for that location. I have a ton of videos about that, about how to survive off spawn and stuff like that, Stan. So again, check out the EFT Like a Pro playlist. Donate some Bitcoin. I don't know about that. You should probably learn how to make some money, and that'd be probably pretty good in game. Related to earlier with the fear of moving. I don't know what you mean there. If you're scared to move and escape from Tarkov, then remember it's a video game and you're here to have fun. So if you're having fun not moving, then don't move. But if you think you're gonna have fun moving, then just move, forehead. If you die, then go through the process that I explained earlier. And just so you guys know, my very first raid in Escape from Tarkov way back when, it was with a pistol on factory, and then I immediately went to the closest corner I could and I shit my pants. Like that's what everyone does. Everyone is terrified their first few raids. It's great. it's a lot of fun. And if that's what you have fun doing, if you have fun being terrified in a corner on factory with a pistol, then do you. But if you think you're also gonna have fun moving around, then move, forehead. I mean on streets. How do you think unique extracts and mechanic? Yeah, we don't know a whole lot about that still. Streets would be the one that you see the crazy extracts and stuff on. We don't know specifics about that yet, so we don't know. How come when I open a container it closes, but when someone else opens it, it stays open? That sounds like a you problem in terms of tech. Yeah, you might have some kind of server issue or something there, man. I really don't know. What will inertia do? People keep talking about it. Inertia is a whole rabbit hole that we can't go down right now. I think I did a video talking about it recently. I think 2 videos ago that I put up, I think I talked about like what it is and how it's going to affect Escape from Tarkov and stuff. Actually, I'm glad that you said that, because that was going to be something I wanted to take a note about as a topic for one of the days. Inertia morning show topic. Okay. For anyone curious, Mountain Dew Game Fuel does not wake you up as well as coffee. It's not the coffee that I had. But I'm not as sleepy as I was earlier. So I'll take it. And it's not as disgusting as that coffee earlier. I want a division extract and that's that. I want a division extract and that's that. I do not know what you're talking about. Oh, you mean with what do they do in division? Do they bring you up in a helicopter or something? Or is that just gear? Is that just gear? I don't even know. Have you played Hired Ops yet? I've played a lot of Hired Ops yet, but the matching started to take forever. So yeah, it is an arcadey shooter that feels like Escape from Tarkov. It would be very good practice. Jakey, that's an amazing point. Yeah, Hired Ops is free to play, and it does feel a lot like Escape from Tarkov. So I do need to add that to the list. That would be an amazing place to go and pick up some FPS skills on mouse and keyboard for sure. Tips on learning maps. That's not the topic for today, Mike Garcia. But hey, I do have my 5-minute map guides. I would say go check out my 5-minute map guides, and those should help you out significantly. And I do have my most recent video on helping new players. I think I forgot the title for it. I make too many videos. My most recent new player tutorial or new player help video talked about when you die but you're having trouble learning the maps, like what you do involving an offline raid and using your scav a lot and stuff like that. So yeah, go check those out. I think Tarkov with the season pass seems a bit weird. Season pass? What season pass, Rucker? There's no season pass. You mean the DLC? The future DLC? How would that be weird? Thanks for the videos, Beast. Keep it up. Keep up the content. Thank you, kiddo. Yeah, inertia. Yeah, we'll talk about this some other time. And I had those couple videos where I talked about that too. How come when I open a container? Yeah, again, Smokey, I don't know. If it's a skill struggle, go offline factory horde mode, but that's not players vortex. Players are the most deadliest thing that, excuse me. Players are the deadliest threat that you have out there with Escape from Tarkov, and you do not fight them in offline. You don't fight them offline. So there is that gray area where people can go offline and they can go horde mode and they'll pick up Escape from Tarkov, but they're not going to pick up player tendencies. You will pick up player tendencies in those other games, fighting against players. So I used to agree with you, and there is still that gray area where that's going to help. But because we're generalizing it for the entire community right now in this podcast, whatever you want to call it, that's why I'm saying play those other games. Hired Ops is an amazing point. Hired Ops, play Hired Ops. If the matching works, if you can get into matches quickly. But I'm saying stuff like Call of Duty. I'm saying stuff like, and I'm not saying Warzone either, because Warzone you don't get into fights that quickly either, and it's also with with weapon systems that are not necessarily useful, like because you have to go pick up that pistol, or you might pick up an SMG and only have one mag or something like that. I'm talking about like specifically the PvP modes that are close together, and you get into fights a lot, and you get into them quickly. That kind of thing. So go and play a team deathmatch, go and play a kill confirmed, go play a domination or whatever on Call of Duty. On Battlefield, pick a small map and go play something that with an objective, so that people are constantly moving into that objective, things like that. You need to build up the mouse and keyboard skill. And then there are some of those people that fit into a gray area where I would say, yeah, go offline factory. But that's definitely not everybody. So that's why I excluded it from my little spiel this morning. Do you think they should put the PMC name in parentheses next to the players? I don't know. Maybe. How do I improve my engagement results? What are things I should be doing when I get pushed? That's a very, so there is stuff like that you will just need to learn on your own, because you're gonna need to mix that with your own capabilities as well as map knowledge and like I said, capabilities. So that's something that is going to need to go in. That's something that you're going to pick up with those other games. That's something that only time and understanding your own capabilities, like I just said, like far fucking time, so I have to stop saying that. That's only something that you can figure out for yourself in that specific situation. So, and also Gear Fear comes into that too. So the more that you play Escape from Tarkov is also going to help with that too. Is the music too loud? Turn that down just a smidge. So if you think that you are just getting stomped, like if you get pushed in game a lot and you lose those engagements, then there is a confidence there that you need to build up, that I think you can build up in one of those games that you do get into engagements a lot more quickly, or a lot more often, I mean. So go play a game where you can get into that gunfight every few seconds as opposed to every several minutes. And then once you do feel confident, then try and mimic it in Escape from Tarkov and see how it works out. There's an O in there, A Grammar 2. There is an O in there, but I did see that you tried to talk to me here, so I'll get your question. Run Tarkov through Steam and use a controller like I have for the last year. Offline mode, easy. High for bots. I'm not even going to touch that. I don't know how you're doing that or what that involves or what, but I would not suggest using a controller for Escape from Tarkov. I would not suggest it. I would not. I would say, guys, pick up a mouse and keyboard. Learn how to use a mouse and keyboard. Especially now, because the game's not even fully released. The game's not even fully released, so if you're not going to try and learn something new, if you're not going to try and pick up a mouse and keyboard now, when are you going to do it? I think one thing that people will struggle to learn is the movement in a gunfight. Would you recommend offline raids on factory and making yourself tag and curse? So, again, there is a gray area of people that will fit into that category, but there is a certain level of confidence that you need to build that most people will need to build first, that you can learn and that you can pick up in those games that you get into those gunfights every few seconds as opposed to every few minutes. And then there is that gray area that people fall into that would be helpful. So if you're finding that you fully understand the more arcadey gameplay, you have to be realistic with yourself, that if you think that you fully understand the quicker movement, the fights, the kind of fights that you would get in, the kind of gameplay that involves getting in fights every few seconds as opposed to every few minutes, but you are still struggling in Escape from Tarkov, then yes, you go offline. You do go offline and you stick the scavs on. But again, Those are scavs. Those, even if you put raiders, even if you put them on the most difficult setting, those are not players. Those are not what players will do in Escape from Tarkov. So you need to understand that, and don't spend too much time doing it. In fact, that gray area is a very small gray area to the point where I would say instead of doing that, I would just say make your kits a little bit cheaper, go to a smaller map, and go play the smaller map so that you're fighting players and not AI. So that's why it's a little bit weird. I think Tarkov is pretty good for casual players. You don't need thick and reflex. Instead, it's a lot about knowing the game, which anyone can do. For sure. That is still a great game. But then when you get into that gunfight, it'd be nice to win those gunfights every once in a while, right? That's what we're talking about. Would be nice to win those gunfights every once in a while. What do you think Arena will be like with the current ammo and armor system? We don't need to care about the current ammo and armor system because probably it won't be here when Arena comes in. And they absolutely will not need to worry about balancing Arena with the current ammo and armor system because it won't be a thing in the future. It won't be a thing at launch. So yeah. Generally speaking, though, if we were to say what Arena would look like with the ammo and the current ammo and armor system, picture labs, but only one floor and twice the people. That's probably what you're going to look at for Arena. So labs, only one floor and twice the people, and everyone knows where everyone else spawns. And there will actually be teams. People will actually work together. That'll be Arena. That'll be like the most blunt. That's like the most blunt way I can explain what Arena will probably look like at first. Cold shower is the best way to wake up. Yeah, but who wants to do? I'm not gonna do that, man. I don't want to do that. I do agree, though. It is a good way to wake up. Wow, I'm behind. What's the syringe with some pills in it? So those aren't pills. That's actually gauze. It's actually kind of crazy. You if you get a significant wound, if you get a significant open wound, what they do is they stick that in there and they pull the plunger up, and then that's all gauze in there. So they'll push the plunger down and then it injects all those gauze pellets in there, and it sucks up all the blood and it tries to help clot. I think it's got some kind of quick clot or some kind of name to it. I know quick clot is usually something else, but that's like what it's used for. Do you think full auto will be the meta forever, or will semi-auto be viable at any point? Semi-auto is going to be very viable very soon because of weapon malfunctions. Weapon malfunctions are going to be a thing, and full auto loves to tear guns apart. It doesn't matter what it is. Full auto, absolutely, unless it's a weapon specifically made to be shot in bursts at the minimum, like a light machine gun or something like that, which light machine guns are coming, you're going to have problems if you go around yeeting full auto mags everywhere, every raid. Once weapon malfunctions and once heat comes in. So yeah, semi-auto is going to absolutely be more viable, coming pretty soon actually. How come when I open it, Smokey again, I answered that. Smokey, I don't know. Picture, I don't know what that would be. I don't know. I'm sorry. Does EFT have a strong future? I mean, does EFT have a strong future for me? What do you mean? Am I excited for the future? Absolutely. I wouldn't have this channel if I didn't have that. If I didn't think it was going to be awesome. I'm super excited. Hell, I'm super excited for just the next patch. What's your favorite AK variant for mid to close range engagements? Mid to close is probably AKM. Because you don't really need to worry about it too much, but you can one tap. It's debatable. Debatable on the ammunition. I would say AKM because you can put the BP in there. But if you don't have a problem farming Killa, or if you don't have a problem, or if you like your AK-74 build, like I would say also AK-74. AK-74U is also good. AKS-74U is also good too. Generally speaking, I would say my favorite though is probably AKM because you can put that BP in there and you can spray really well with it. And then worst case, you can one tap out to distance with it. I have a problem with hearing people before they hear me. They know already. So there's a lot of that with Escape from Tarkov, guys, because you do get, or specifically Daniel, since you're asking this question, even aiming down your sight. is a very obvious sound that doesn't occur in nature in Escape from Tarkov. So when you aim down your sight and you hear that noise, people can hear that. If they're somewhat close to you, people can hear that, and if they know what they're doing, they sure as shit know that you're there now, because that's not a stick. That's a person aiming down their sight. Same thing when you shuffle. Whenever you pan from side to side and your movement shuffles, or like you make that little shuffle noise, that does not occur in nature either. So if that person knows what they're talking about, or if they know what they're doing, they sure as shit are going to know you're there, because they know that that's what the shuffle sound sounds like. So there's that. There's sometimes when you go into your inventory, that'll make a unique noise that does not occur in nature. So if someone's close enough to hear that, they sure as shit know that you're there, because they know that you just went into your inventory. So there's little things like that can pop up in Tarkov that can get you killed very easily. And it comes with playtime. So make sure you have an appropriate sound setup. If you're not playing with a headset, you're doing it wrong. Make sure you have like that surround sound headset. If you want to improve, like if you actually want to get better, like if this is something that you actually want to solve. If you just heard me say that and you're like, well, I don't want to wear a headset, well then you don't want to survive most raids where people can hear you and you can't hear them. Like that's the trade-off. That's just what you got to do. If you want to be able to survive those situations, then you need to be on the same, like you need to try your best to be on the same playing field. So get a good headset, make sure the sound's turned up well, and that kind of thing for that kind of stuff. So hopefully that helps, Daniel. The open container thing the other guy was talking about happens to everyone, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I really don't know what he's talking about though. I don't know what that is. What's the biggest mistake that intermediate players make? Oh man. Probably I would say it's not necessarily a mistake, but it's a mindset thing. And we see it a lot with streamers, right? Escape from Tarkov is not done, guys. I don't know if you guys knew this, but Escape from Tarkov is not that was a joke. Escape from Tarkov is not done. It's also very buggy. There's a reason why Welcome to Tarkov is one of my favorite phrases, is because shit just happens that gets you killed that you have no control over. So I would say it's a mindset problem for most intermediate players, because if you are in that intermediate stage, then chances are you probably know what you need to do to get better, but then you let the game get to you, or you let problems with the game that aren't solved yet get to you. So if you need to take a break, if you actually get frustrated and if you are no longer having fun playing the game, take a break. Do not play the game. And then once you get the itch to play Escape from Tarkov, come back and play Escape from Tarkov. But you see that a lot with streamers now too, because they play so much and their actual livelihood counts on them, especially if they're like if their content is skill based, like if people watch them because they're very good at the game, and then something happens that gets them killed that they cannot control, then they immediately go to anger. They go to get very angry, and then that's not that good. That's not very good. So I talked about that the other day about some problems with esports and why it might not be a good idea to really be focusing on that right now in terms of Escape from Tarkov. I realized that I missed a major topic that I wanted to bring up with that. So maybe we'll go back on that subject here soon. But yeah, I think the biggest mistake that intermediate players can make is letting the game get to you. There are stuff that is on the regular, you are going to die to something that is completely out of your control, and that's just Tarkov. And past that, there's also gameplay. There's also things involved with the gameplay that is going to be out of your control, no matter how good you are. So something that Nikita directly talked about with Pestily on Thursday there was that it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter where you're from, it doesn't matter. And this is like from a real life perspective. It doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter where you're from, it doesn't matter how long you have been training to be in the military or to be in some kind of conflict zone or whatever you might be doing. If you are Billy Badass, like the biggest Chad in the world, or just some dude that picked up a pistol, some homeless Russian dude scab that picked up a pistol, you are both equally. It is both. What's the fucking? You both have the same possibility of stepping on a landmine, or you both can step on a landmine, or you both can just go left when you should have gone right. Just be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and you need to understand that part of that, or a big part of that has nothing to do with you. Skill has nothing to do with the fact that you should have gone left, but you went right, and then the guy with the grenade launcher was waiting for you on their side, or you should have not gone down that funnel, that fatal funnel, or whatever you want to call it, whatever makes it easy for people to place booby traps, that kind of a thing. You should have, I don't know, you probably shouldn't have, you know what, no one's walked through here in a while, that kind of a thing. And that looks like an amazing place to put a booby trap, that kind of thing. So I'm going to go around that. I'm not going to go through that kind of a thing. That's the kind of stuff that you need to pick up. But then also, there's just those random mines. There's just those random moments that you have no control over that is just going to get you killed. So, yeah. Hopefully there was something that you could have taken out of that plastic. I kind of went on a rant there. Do you think point fire will ever get a nerf? I don't think so, because it's very effective in real life. It is very useful and very effective in real life, and they want it to stay that way in Tarkov. But then again, it's based on the weapon, right? So depending on your weapon, maybe from weapon to weapon, maybe there's one that it shouldn't be that effective because you don't have the right grip on it or something like that. Generally speaking, point fire in real life is very good, is very effective, especially with rifles. So I think it is going to be useful throughout the lifespan of the game. I think the Division extract comment means like just use extract and just a bare one. I don't know what that means. I've played a lot of the Division and I don't actually know what that means. What's the biggest mistake intermediate play? Already got that. Will be a player increase in factory? Yes, one. They're going to add one extra player spawn on factory. Are we going to see the integrated thermal in the smart shotgun? That's the plan. We'll see how it ends up looking. Because the footage for it is supposed to go to a separate device, but they're not adding the separate device, so I don't know what's going to go on with that. Hi, Francis. Did they change Shooter Part 8 to span... people have been talking about Shooter Part 8. I don't know what's going on with Shooter Part 8. I don't know, man. They'll change what they think they need to change. If you have been playing Shooterborn, is it Shooterborn? No, it's Tarkov Shooter, right? Is it Tarkov Shooter? Is that the name of the task? If you have a problem with it, make sure you put some good feedback on the forums about it, or you send in some good feedback to BSG. And if enough people think the same way, maybe you can convince them. But I don't know what the problem is with it. Thoughts on a landing interruption when falling over one story? Thoughts on a landing interruption when falling over one story to prevent PMCs falling one or two stories and killing a squad? Yeah, so I know what you're talking about there, Frank. With like a bit of a ragdoll, like you need to be able to control yourself a bit better. Yeah, I think that does make sense. So I want to see what happens with the unconscious states, and I want to see what happens with the more advanced ragdolls that are going to be coming with those unconscious states and stuff. I feel like that would be something to do with it. So we'll see what happens. But I think you're on the right. I think that is the right thing to do there. So we'll see if they end up doing it. But personally, I haven't heard them say anything specific about it, other than I know that we're getting more advanced ragdolls with the unconscious states, so maybe it ties into it some. Where do you get most of your video ideas? Literally my brain. My brain and following the game. Not to mention, well, most of my videos these days are news. So the second Nikita confirms anything, if they talk about anything, especially if they bring up anything new, I just make a video about it. But then also, like I said, everything that I've been talking about today, like this is my notes from today. I'm just a fucking crazy super nerd for the game. You want to see what my notes looked like for today's morning stream? This is literally all I've been going off of. Everything else is my brain. So I had my topic for today. I had my general lineup of what I wanted to talk about the topic, and then otherwise everything is just off the top of my head. Everything else is just off the top of my head. So I'm just like a crazy super nerd for the game. Boop 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 boop. You should be able to take damage to your hand if you don't have a grip when it gets shot too. Maybe advanced armor hitboxes, maybe they'll do something with that, but I'm not sure. Do you think an in-game voice chat could be a good idea? VoIP is coming. VoIP is coming. Thanks for the info. Looking forward to more content. Thanks, Concussion. Especially with that name, concussions are coming. So look forward to that. Doesn't Tarkov actually only have 2.0 sound output? I have no idea, Raleigh. I really don't know. That's a Veritas question. If Factory Street became entry exit to labs, not if, when, does that mean Factory Streets can be full of Chads Warzone? I mean, they kind of already are going to be, because Chads are everywhere, right? Depending on what point of the wipe you'll be at, there will be Chads around. But that's not an if question. That's a when. Factory and streets are going to become an entry to labs. Labs is going to be locked down. You're going to have to go through factory or streets to get to labs. But yeah. So we'll see what happens. That's what we're here to test. Once that comes into the game, we'll test it, see, and if it makes a significant change that needs to be addressed, then they'll address it. No problem, Plastic. Plastic Shark Luke. No problem. Was that like a Scuba Steve thing? What's up with the Omicron container picture and just popped up? So Omicron's going to be a earnable secure container in game, and it's going to be like a Gamma, but with an extra 1x3. So so you can think of it however you want. You can think of like a Kappa container, which is the 3x4, and then just chop the bottom 1x3 off and make it separate. Or picture it as like a Gamma container, and then an extra 1x3. Whatever, I mean, both are the same thing, but whatever makes sense to you. It's going to be 12 total slots, but it's going to be separated by a 3x3 and then a 1x3. At least that's the last time at least it was the last time that they talked about it. All right, we're going to lightning round it here, guys, because we're actually coming up on 10. We're coming up on that 1 hour mark. Is there a plan to make it possible to aim through the iron sight, for example, by the AKS, if you have a scope on the rail? You can already do that with some of the PSOs. So if you have an AK, who was asking that there? Paincore, if you have an AK platform and then you put the little rail that I forget the name of it, but you can put the little rail on the iron sight for the AKs. If you put a PSO on it and then you put the rail for the iron sight and then you put a little red dot on that, you can do that already right now. If you know what I mean. I don't know if you could do it with the AKS, but I think you can do it. I mean, I know you can do it with like an SKS, and I know you can do it with the Vepr Hunter. And there might be a couple of other AKs that you can do that with too. So like put a PSO, and then the little rail that you can put with the iron sight. That you swap the iron sight for the rail, and then you can put a little red dot on that rail. But I'm blanking on the names of it. How do you get better at finding PMCs mid-raid? You just need to play more. That's a player tendency thing. So as you play more stribs, you'll understand player tendencies. You'll understand timing. So depending on where you spawned and where you went, you kind of have that mental clock of like, okay, this is a pretty serious area, or this is a pretty hot area usually. So given this amount of time, there's a person that spawned over here. Sometimes they pop up over here, so maybe I'll look that way, and then if they end up being there, then they end up being there, like that kind of a thing. It just comes with time in game. Why is there no burst-only weapons in Escape from Tarkov? I don't know. I do not know. It's a good question. I want more music in Tarky. Trust me, this is all we've been listening to. Nikita. This is all. Gene Burn is Nikita, by the way, guys. He loves making his music, so I'm sure there's plenty more coming. Any news on Arena? Nothing new past the past couple weeks there, Stage. I really hope that's not $100 because that's too much. I really hope that's not $100. That's too kind. I'll get to, hopefully the text to speech gets that. Characters resting their weapons, not being always combat ready. I don't know about 12.11, but that is coming. Baggy, we'll see.
Thanks for the great vids. Your perspective on the game is so much more informed and intelligent than other content creators.
I sort of disagree. It's perspective. Perspective is good, dude. That's $12. Okay, good. Thank you very much for the $12. Appreciate it. Thank you very much for the support. Chris, perspective is good. So I have my own perspective. I have my own things that I like about Escape from Tarkov. I have my own way that I play Escape from Tarkov, and where there's some things that you and I might disagree on, there's probably someone else that does agree with it. Or there is someone that can explain it maybe better than me. So perspective is good. There's a lot of great people out there making really good content for Escape from Tarkov, so make sure you check out the full community. But I do appreciate the support. Really do appreciate the support, Chris. And I know I recognize your name. I know you're here a lot. So again, really appreciate it, and perspective is good. So make sure you check out the rest of the community, because there's a really big, really cool community out there. So yeah, with the character resting, low ready and all that stuff, all that's planned. And let me just double check here. So resting, so low and high ready is planned. And then like resting your weapon on stuff, that is also planned, but I doubt it's with 12.11. I think it's going to come with the LMGs later this year. In your opinion, will the flea market be out of the game at some point? No, I don't think they're going to ever remove the flea market, but they are hearing us out in terms of problems that the flea market causes and stuff. So I do not think that they will ever remove the flea market, but I do think that it causes a problem that needs to be solved. I guess my question is more, excuse me guys. I guess my question is more, if you have to fight in lab, before and after lab, is lab still viable in your opinion? Of course it is, because it's everything that's going to be in labs, all the loot and stuff. Man, I'm really behind here, guys, and we're already at the 10-minute mark. Listen, so I'm gonna speed up here, guys. I'm gonna jump ahead, and I'm gonna pick. Let me just pick 2 random questions here, and then we're gonna end it for today. But don't worry, because I'm gonna be back tomorrow. Do you need a key card? Yes, you're gonna need a key card to go into labs. They're gonna do a lot of cool stuff like that, Hammer time. They're gonna do a lot of cool stuff like that. If you get the chance again, what should next set of questions be? I don't know yet, Mexicano. Actually, I do. There's one question that I was gonna ask. I think it's revolving around like access to the hideout. I think was gonna be one of my next questions. So having a look up in the wiki. No, actually, Marv, because that's part of the game. That's actually part of the game. You're supposed to just kind of figure it out on your own. They're not going to hold your hand. That's all part of it. That's all why we're here to play Escape from Tarkov, right? Because it kicks us in the nads so much. It's a gut punch. That's why we're here, right? Because it doesn't hold your hand. It's a crazy game. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for today. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for the latest Escape from Tarkov news, because we might be having some very interesting stuff happening this week. But we do have Rivals tomorrow. We're going to be talking about PvP-oriented stuff, and we're going to be talking about some esports stuff tomorrow, since we do have that Rivals tournament that's going to be popping up tomorrow. If I did not get to your question, or if you just missed the stream in general, I am going to be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern United States time. Also, the VOD will be up very soon after this goes down. And very soon after that, I'm going to download it and then upload it onto Spotify if you want to listen, because this was a very good listening cast today. So for that, you can check out Spotify. And those links will pop up in the description. If I have finished them, I'll have the timestamps in the description and the top comments, also the Spotify link. But otherwise, guys, thank you very much for hanging out. This was Good Morning Tarkov. I will see you guys tomorrow, unless something else pops up. You might see a video later today from me if something does pop up. But generally speaking, but otherwise, I will see you tomorrow. Thank you very much for hanging out. I love you, and have a nice day. See you guys.